officially say good morning. Because it's not yet noon. Ha-ha! We started early. Got you on your toes. Tell your friends.
Oh, a whole 20 seconds.
Let's see who's here, shall we?
Oh my
Oh,
goodness.
lordy heck, heavens above. Okay, let's scroll back and see who the heck we've got. We've got a ton of peeps here already. Oh, right, hold on. Hello, Sean. Hello, Logan. Hello, Peggy. Hello, Gilda. Hello, Savannah. Hello, Susan. Hello, Cass. Hello, Jess. Hello, Yoff. Hello, Laurie. Hello, Carol. Hello, Shana. Hello, Kimberly. Hello, Geraldine. Goodness gracious me. And only Shana isn't a channel member. What do we have to do to persuade you to become a channel member? It's worth every penny, you know. We had a ritual last night.
Yeah,
we did the new moon ritual last night, and there's astrology through your natal chart and all that fun stuff that we do.
Stuff.
Yeah,
all right,
good
peeps.
stuff.
Hello.
So before Lisa launches into the spiel for today, because there's loads to go through, I'm sure, in astrological terms, I must send a big thank you to Yoff, who's kicked us off on our starting for our goal, because 10 super chats, we're going to do another book club tonight at 8. Tell your friends.
Tonight's chapter is
In the Name of the Gods, I believe. Hello, Wendy. How you doing?
right. Oh my goodness. Okay, so remember we said that the end of April was going to be a little crazy.
Oh, just a tad.
And it was really a blessing. We got through April 20th without any really horrible things, other than maybe a bit of a trade war kind of starting.
I don't know. I think the Pope left the planet.
Al Ghul is really working its magic, let's say. And then I was very concerned about the 25th being the dark moon and the Mars-Pluto opposition. And that was a bit of a stressful time. And we had the Taurus new moon yesterday. And I did feel a little bit of a shift. And I do think that as we move forward into May, we will have some really good opportunities to make the best of some things. You're itching to say something.
I'm just going to say hello, Laura of the North. She's given herself an identifiable name now. She's
All right.
So welcome. Pray continue. I'm sorry.
No, I could just tell you we're going to jump out there. So
You could.
All right.
You could see the anticipation.
So today, the moon has moved along a little bit in Taurus. And today the moon is conjunct Al Ghul. So this means there's a little bit of emotional chaos, right? Because we know that Uranus is chaos, panic, and disorder. Expect the unexpected. Let me disrupt things. Let me be a little crazy. And the moon is connected to our emotions. And then, the ruling planet of Taurus is Venus, so that's an extra little dose of emotions going on. So you might find yourself today in a place where you're kind of trying to work out your loyalties and figure out where you belong and just kind of try to figure out what you're going to do and how you're going to do it. And I think the best piece of advice I can give you is allow yourself to purge some of these emotions. Even some of them might not make any sense because of the churning of things going on. Al Ghul wants us to lose our mind, and that's where Uranus is. And now this is the moon conjunct Al Ghul and Uranus today. So just, lock yourself in a room, have a good cry, punch some pillows, scream, whatever it is you want to do. Go outside and holler. But try to not let yourself get taken away with it, right? Sometimes we let our emotions really weigh on us and we get in a place where we think, I can't, I'm not worth it. We have all these like dark, heavy things that we play upon ourselves. And I think today is very, very important that we don't get too sucked into that. Now, thankfully, the moon moves fairly quickly, and the moon will be, a card for Kaylee. Okay.
And hi, Courtney.
I'm going to put her here. Courtney's a channel member.
Yes, I know.
Okay.
No, she just joined us, so
All
I
right.
said hi.
So thankfully the moon moves pretty quickly, and tomorrow the moon will move into Gemini. And this is going to give us this, I need to launch all these projects. I need to have all these projects. I need to start this and start that and organize this and, have an extra of that. And moon in Gemini just helps us get in a place of much better expression of our emotions.
Tis a little frenetic, though, isn't it? That's the only trouble with Gemini.
And the
bless
other things that it's going to do is trine that Pluto in Aquarius. So you may come up with some really innovative ideas to reconstruct some of your projects or give them some new life. It's going to sextile Mars in Leo. And that sextiles are offerings.
Yeah, they're not bad.
So if you are launching a project that you want to be seen, tomorrow will help that project be seen. Like, look here, I want to be very direct with you, but also that Mars in Leo sextile could be distracting.
Could be.
Look over here, sleight of hand. So we have to be on the lookout for that. Then the last day of April, if you could imagine, is just a few days away. Venus moves back into Aries. So again, we're going to see marching and rights come to the forefront, civil rights, women's rights, all kinds of rights. And by that time, the moon will have moved far enough to conjunct Jupiter. So now we have this positive emotional energy in Gemini that helps us to express our emotions, and it's come across the great benefic Jupiter, and Jupiter wants to expand that. So there may be some very eloquent pleas and well-written op-eds and things that allow us to really understand more depth, with more depth, things that are going on in the world, and again, within our community, within ourselves. You still have Saturn in Pisces. It hasn't quite reached Neptune yet, but we will have Venus conjunct Neptune. So again, there's this, if you can dream it, you can be it. And I think that it's going to lead its way into May with a lot of things moving in a place where we can find the energy to persevere and find the energy to pioneer. We'll have a lot of that cluster that's been in Pisces this month being very dramatic and upsetting and distressing. That cluster, except of course for the node, is moving off into Aries, and we're going to have now this Martian marching, persevere, get it done, win the war, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But it can also bring some hardships.
Huh.
And I think that we are going to see some of the things that got started during the Pisces pileup play out in a Martian way in May. Meaning things like, for example,
supply chain constraints.
Supply chain issues, right. So I've been barking for a while to get your extra cat food and whatever else you're going to get. And I saw something in the news today about how basically when all these tariffs were announced, we're going to put 125% here, this and that and all that, that they stopped loading ships, right? So Taiwan, Singapore, China, they stopped loading the ships, and they said, never mind, we don't want to send anything more. just send them as they are. So these half empty and maybe even less than half empty or more than half empty, whatever way that is, ships have arrived in the Los Angeles ports. So if they're partially empty, that means that the dock workers aren't going to have enough work, and the truck drivers aren't going to have enough work, and the retail stores aren't going to have enough stock, and then this happens where people go crazy. So again, you have a few more days to get your supplies in and get ready for a little bit of disruption in some way. So, again, I hope I'm really wrong.
Well, yeah.
I hope that another batch of ships that, because he said, 90 days, blah, blah, blah. I hope another batch of ships full of things come, but understand the prices are going up. I've heard from a lot of our suppliers who have said,
it's not,
buy now or you're going to pay more.
It's not just that it affects necessarily goods per se, because service companies, because they still have to buy things to function, they put their prices up too, and we've just seen increases in our internet prices just because they put the price up.
Yeah.
Everything's going to go up.
Everything.
I mean, it's ridiculous as well. And supply and demand is the big driver of an economy, and if there's more people want something than there actually is, the price goes up anyway, because supplies are constrained and it has that rarity value. If there's a surplus, then the price tends to drop. But
supply and demand, people don't understand how that works. No.
Well, I'm afraid our deceiver in chief hasn't got a damn clue about anything, to be perfectly honest.
No. So Logan, the rights I'm talking about are civil rights, women's rights,
the right to vote,
voting rights, immigrants' citizenship rights.
Your entire First Amendment rights, my friend.
Yeah.
Freedom of speech,
and
freedom of assembly.
It's going to be that we have to stand up and defend these things and support legal means of standing up for these rights and support the people who are in the courts or in the law firms that are actually standing up for people's rights. You're going to see a lot more marching. You're going to see a lot more people in the streets.
May 1st is supposed to be a pretty strong day of protest.
May Day, yeah. It's going to be intense, more so than it has been.
I think this is the issue. We can't just sit idly by, and the way it's done is this, point a minority group out and blame everything on them. And, if you get somebody who's, obviously like brutal gangs like MS-13, for example, nobody really wants to support them, unless, of course, you're a gang member. But that doesn't mean that you can just go pick somebody up off the street,
and
accuse them
they are
of being a gang member, and deport them without due process. Because due process applies to everybody. It doesn't say citizen. It doesn't say natural born individual. It's every person is entitled to due process under the law, under the Fifth Amendment of the United States Constitution. To break that and to have the Department of Justice actually break that law needs to be addressed. It needs to be addressed. And one of the 5 freedoms that we have under the Constitution, the First Amendment of the Constitution, is the right to petition Congress for redress of grievance. And I think we need to get on the stick with that.
Which means basically power to the people. Love is the law.
Absolutely.
And we ask for things to be...
Don't break the law.
Right.
Keep your nose clean, but stand up for your rights, because if you don't, you're going to lose them.
Yeah, we're coming to a real interesting kind of head of steam here. And again, in astrology, something happens in a moment when these two things come together or they make that angle. But we feel it coming in and we feel it going out. And I think that the rest of this week is going to be a bit of a pressure cooker.
It is.
And Al Ghul is still really trying to, take down leaders and make us lose our minds on a personal level. So don't lose your shit, man.
No, don't. Don't. Keep your nose clean and your powder dry.
Yeah, but no, seriously, try to stay calm. logic it out, figure out ways that you can help yourself, figure out ways you can help other people, be the voice of reason if somebody else is having a meltdown. You know, there's going to be waves of this energy. And as people who are aware or sensitive, it can be exhausting, right? So you yourself may not have a huge thing going on, although many of us do. But you may need to be that breath and that voice and that stable, comforting energy for someone else. And if no one around you is in distress, that's really wonderful. You still may be picking up on
just the
community,
zeitgeist,
community, country, global things that are just kind of, you know. And I do think that we are still going to see seismic activity, more volcanic eruptions, things that
cataclysmic climate
create
events.
an unease, an uneasiness. You could pick up on that. There's been a lot of odd things going on with pods of whales, I was reading.
Really?
Where these pods of whales are all moving out of a certain place, and they're concerned that there's going to be some sort of disruption under the sea. I didn't write the details down for that, but I thought,
I know whales
that's
can
interesting.
communicate over massive distances.
Well, yeah, these are
Massive
not
distances.
usually pods that would come together,
Wow.
but they've picked a place that I guess they deem safe. So that's unusual. But I think that, you know, animals are more in touch with nature.
Oh, absolutely.
And
absolutely.
they get to see what's down there, and we have no idea what's down there for the most part. But there could be some wind events and weather events that could be a bit disruptive, right? We still have things going on that could cause power outages or internet disruption, supply chain disruption, trade wars, cyber war, you know, and maybe what we've seen with some of these security breaches and things like that, and Doge, maybe those are the things that we got cyber war wise, and maybe we're finished. Let's hope. But we can't just plan on that. We need to be ready. What if you had no phone service? What if you had no internet? You know, you need to.
Well, it's going to be awfully lonely here on Magickal Monday without an internet.
Well, absolutely. We'll just have to congregate in the annex, I guess.
Do it in person.
But really, you know, again, know who it is that you would hook up with and support or gain support from. Get your tribe ready. Don't panic. I'm not trying to make anybody panic. Like I said, we might have already seen the trade war. We might have already seen the cyber war. So we might be, you know, through some of it. But we still kind of have to be aware and a little bit alert. Not just, you know, ignore it. I saw a really funny little video this morning. It said, trying to be a responsible adult in 2025. And there's this gentleman at a table with his coffee, and he's looking through and he picks out like a stevia packet. And he's shaking it, and out the window, this atomic bomb goes off way in the distance and make a mushroom cloud. So he puts that back and takes the sugar and just pours it in his coffee. And that's kind of where we're at, you know, trying to be responsible adults. But, man, it's just one of those.
There are, I pray that, you know, intelligence befalls upon some people before it's way too late. That, you know, But yes, I read about that power outage, a massive power outage in most of Spain and Portugal. It's like huge. It was probably on a similar scale to the one that happened back in 2000.
She read about the whales, and then there's a big power outage. Mm-hmm. Yeah, these are the kind of things that I'm saying. You know, Yeah.
But these power outages, I mean, at the time, I mean, I'm going to put my tinfoil helmet on at this point and tell you that, you know, all you got to do is hack into a system and tell it that it's facing a critical overload and it'll shut itself down. You know, that's how espionage works, you know. The NSA developed something called Stuxnet. It's well and truly in the public domain now, so nobody's breaching any things here, but they embedded that in the centrifuges in the Iranian power plants where they're trying to enrich uranium, and destroyed all the centrifuges as a result of that, and they spun completely out of control. And that was a simple piece of code that was injected in there by our own national security agency. So don't tell us we don't do dirty tricks, because we bleeding well do, you know. But the world is full of dirty tricks. It really, really is. And I don't know, there seems to be so much more money able to be spent on waging war and harming people than feeding people. And, you know, there's a stupidity here. Many years ago, when I was working for Collier's in Birmingham, we did this little magazine called the Collier's Chronicle. And it was just a little trade mag, you know. We put adverts in there, but there was always a little bit of editorial in there as well, which I thought was a good idea, because you've got to make something interesting. And I remember I was very kind enough, the Birmingham Motorway Police Group, the Central Motorway Police Group, took me out with them for a day, and it was really fascinating to learn what they did. But one of the most amazing things that I learned that is a fatal accident, even back then, and we're talking in the 90s at this stage, the early 90s, I want to say, it would cost over £1 million to just investigate that accident. £1 million.
To investigate a fatal accident?
To investigate all of the stuff, the coroners, everything, the fire brigade, everything that goes into that.
Uh-huh.
And now look at what we're doing by rolling back all of these protections that we've got, thinking that that's going to save money. It's not. If anybody dies as a result of unusual circumstances, there has to be an inquest, there has to be an autopsy, there's all of this sort of stuff. So like removing safety from food, for example, costs hundreds of thousands of times more than it does of leaving the protections.
As people get sick and die.
And trying to trace it down and what happened when, you know, because you've removed the guardrails so somebody can cut corners and get rich quick. And that's the philosophy here. Deregulation, you know. There's, you know, we just, I don't know. It sickens me.
I don't understand what that has to do with car accidents.
What has to do with car accidents?
Maybe I'm not following you.
You went out with... Okay, so what you said... They're rolling back a lot of the safety concerns with the National Highway Transportation Safety Administration or whatever, NHTC. All of these things, these cars that have to meet things... So nobody will investigate anymore? No, it's not that.
I'm sorry, I'm very confused.
You roll back the safety concerns, right?
Okay.
You do away with OSHA. Somebody falls off a building, yeah?
Okay.
Then there has to be an inquest, and it's going to cost more... In terms of actually investigating what the hell happened, putting everything right, or
because
whatever.
Because if they had had the safety in place, they wouldn't have fallen off the building.
In the first place.
All right, I'm with you now. That was
that
was a little bit around the reek in there.
It's short-sighted. It's like, for example, when they take the safeties off and you get this massive derailment, as they did in Cleveland with the train, where it spilt stuff all over the place. You know, yeah. It's just whatever.
All right.
You know?
Okay. No, I'm sorry. I thought we were going to get a story about the 90s and riding with the police, and I didn't quite understand how that was going on.
Somehow I think Logan's on my wavelength. He said several recalls on the cyber dumpsters, and now he's removed that department investigating those recalls.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So
I'm
goes
with
out
you.
the window.
I get it now, but I was all set up for this story about Collier's and the police, and I didn't understand how it was relating at all.
I want to say back then, and it was like nearly 30 years ago, probably 30 years ago, literally 30 years ago, it would have been more than 30 years. And it was £1 million then, which would have been like $1.5 million.
So what we've done now,
it's going to cost millions.
We are removing the safeguards to stop people from having those accidents. So there's going to be more and more of those accidents to investigate. So in the long run, it's going to cost lives and more money. And that is kind of what's happening across the board with pharmaceuticals, with food, with the CDC, with... Yeah. Okay,
absolutely.
I'm on your
what
wavelength
does this
now.
savings actually cost you? They've got no idea.
Just calm down and stop yelling in my ear.
I'm sorry. I get worked up about this stuff. You know, I get worked up about it. That's what government's supposed to be to
Govern.
help. Govern.
They're supposed to be a governing, yes.
And make sure we don't live in a lawless, bloody society where, you know, I can just do what I want, you know.
All right.
Cover-ups are expensive too.
Yes, cover-ups.
Yes, they are. They cost more than you can possibly imagine.
Oh,
Anyway.
there's so much going on that we have no idea about.
The lies and deceit and the sheer bull.
And we really can't keep up with everything. What we need to keep up with is ourselves. What we put into our own bodies, what we feed our families, and how we take care of our community. That's what we can be responsible for. And stand up and band together to try to do something about the injustices, right? And I know I sound like a broken record, but brighten the corner where you are.
Yeah, you can do that.
And stand up. Protests are important, get involved, but you're not going to learn everything about everything. And if you did, you'd be so overwhelmed you'd get nothing done. And especially this week, try to keep your emotions in check. Let yourself express them, but think things through. You know, is this logical, or am I just being mowed down by all this crazy energy? Everybody I've talked to, this past week, so many people had accidents, right? I got pushed over by chairs. Another friend fell downstairs. Somebody else fell at the store. You know, there's this frenetic kind of crazy energy that if we don't try to stay a little grounded, we're going to end up getting, mauled over.
We have a new channel member, or viewer, sorry, so not a channel member yet. Jador, welcome to our channel, and hope it's nice in Connecticut. It's a lovely day here in New York, so it is marvellous. It's lovely, and Logan, you're absolutely right. You know, we do need to make best possible use of both our rights and our rights. You know, and you can do so much, individually, practically, and magically as well, because we're magical people, so we should use our magic for good. We absolutely should. You know, and it's. Yeah, I love seeing the passion of the Leo.
He's crazy.
I'm not crazy. I'm not. No. Well, maybe I am in certain respects, but it's just the idiocy of it all, and that people go, "Oh yeah, that's great." Yeah, have you actually thought about that? Thinking is a rare commodity nowadays. Have you noticed that? It really is a rare commodity. Anyway, I suppose we'll climb off our soapbox now.
Well, on a much happier note.
Yes. No, we've got some good news. Yes.
We heard from our tarot artist.
Yay!
And we have an appointment with him on Wednesday. So this is really good because
feeling better.
We've been kind of out of the loop there. And later on today, we're going to put out some information regarding our tarot deck that we've been working on for nearly
a little over 10 years.
Like a decade.
Probably.
And we are going to ask for people to get behind us and support us so that we can get this printed. We've looked into a lot of things, and we've decided to go with a semi-local printer.
New York State.
Yeah, it's a drivable distance so that we won't have to pay shipping. And so it won't get printed someplace where they will steal our intellectual property, because it's kind of an important work, and we're going to get that moving. So when we did our new moon ritual last night, Anton and I both set out that vibe that we would get things moving in a positive direction, and lo and behold, this morning I got a text from Dave, and we're all set to go on Wednesday for a meeting.
Pretty darn good omen, if you ask me.
Right?
But in fairness, our tribe's been sending him some good juju.
We've been sending him healing for a while now.
We've been sending a lot of good juju.
But I really, really want to get this going, and I honestly think it's going to open up a world of understanding through the tarot. And we're going to need some backing, though, to get this done, because we're not a huge publishing company.
Nope.
So we'll give you some more details. We are going to send out text and email, and of course we'll put it on the YouTube, and we'll put it on Facebook and Instagram, all that good stuff. And we need to get a good wave of energy, something positive that people can put their energy into, right?
Absolutely.
Because tarot is a wonderful tool for self-help, for sure.
It is. It is. I'm just loving the. I know some of you guys who are watching right now are also on our tarot course, which is sadly coming to a close.
Oh, yeah,
It's
we're
only got
almost done.
two more goes to go, and then we've done it. But it's you guys have actually forced us
Our
to
guinea
get,
pigs.
to get our writing done, if you know what I mean. But I'm just loving the vibe there. There's so much good energy comes out.
Oh
of
yeah,
it.
it's like
You know,
witch
people-
college, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like people like, oh yeah, wow, and and it's just like it's almost got its own egregore at this stage.
Well,
It's kind
the
of, you know?
tarot deck itself, like I said, I really feel that it's going to speak volumes to even the most experienced tarot reader. And a lot of the people who are in the class have been working with the tarot for many years, and they're all saying that, you know, like, oh my God, I see this that I didn't see before, or, you know, I kind of understand the history of this. And
It's just a game.
yeah, I think it's going to be a wonderful gift to the esoteric community. So we really need to get that across, that, you know, help us bring this gift to the esoteric community. And we're going to need a little bit of backing. So but we'll send you out some information.
Fair bit of backing, actually.
Well, it's why
It's not going to be cheap.
you know, it's why people with money make money, isn't it?
Well,
Because,
it is, because
you know,
some people can afford to spend that amount of money on a bottle of wine over dinner. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, and then
Seriously.
and then they pay the authors $1, and
Yeah.
they get the rest. You know, that's how it goes. All right, so you're first for Sean.
Oh, hello, Sean, if you're still there. I hope he is. Two of Swords. I refer the honourable gentleman to the answers we gave yesterday. When you have to make a decision, you have to make a decision. You know what I mean? It's okay. But it's sometimes just go with your intuition. I think this is the one thing that's speaking to me more than anything else now. What feels right? You know what I mean? What feels right? You can't pither forever. You can't pither because pithering fixes nothing. One must set to and do. But you know, just go with what feels right and don't fret it. Don't fret like, oh my God, I'm going to make a horrible, terrible, permanent decision. It's not. You know, in the words of the prophet Led Zeppelin, you know, there may be two paths you can go by, but you can always change the road you're on. So don't sweat it. Just make a choice. Get on with it. Get on with it. Stop pithering. All right?
Yes.
All right.
All right, Logan.
And thank you guys who have thrown the super chats. We got 5 more to go to do book club tonight. So thank you to Jess and thank you to Laurie and thank you to Susan who sent us a super chat. I think I thanked everybody else before. Okay.
Logan. A little bit of balance goes a long way, right? This is Archangel Michael, the protector. Temperance is the alchemist that knows just how to mix things for healing. There is always a balance. So sometimes during the heaviest, darkest energy times is when our light shines the brightest.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, to compensate. So I feel like things are starting to break free a bit for you, and that you will come to a place of being comfortable again. You just got to get that mix right, that alchemy right. Oh.
Well, thank you again, Jess. That's lovely of you.
They want to get to book
I think they
club.
want book club. They want book club. I'm sure so.
All right, you have Peggy.
Peggy. How you doing, Peggy? Aha! This card does not suck, let me tell you. This card does not suck. I love this. It's very much the Leo card. Well, you can tell by the bloody great big lion on it, can't you? But listen, if she'd have come at that lion strong like bull, she'd be lunch, wouldn't she? But she's come at him with nothing but love and that beautiful, absolute, you can't run out of it love, you know? It's just given without condition. And the lion is just absolute putty in her hands. He's got to go, fuzz me some more under the chin. Go on, just a bit. I like to be fuzzed under the chin too, if you feel like it. sometime. But never mind. So, yeah, this remember, and this is coming up for a quote from tarot class yesterday. You can move mountains with dynamite, albeit a bit at a time. But love is the only thing capable, the only force strong enough to turn an enemy into a friend. So love, there's nothing beats it. There's nothing trumps it. Use it. You can't run out of it. Spread it around. The world needs a lot of love right now, believe me. It really, really does.
Thank you, Courtney.
Oh, thank you, Courtney, and thank you, Jess, again.
All right, I have Gilda.
Gilda.
Gilda. Ooh. You may have run up against an interesting little bit of power struggle.
Oh, Lordy.
I think there's a bit of me going on, maybe at work, where
It's my bloody turf.
opinions, this card is like opinions are like buttholes, everybody has one. But I kind of think like this isn't necessarily people pushing their opinion as much as it is striving for attention. So my advice to deal with them is to just do your job, do it well, and not get into the fray.
Yeah.
Right? Whatever they've asked you to do, they believe you're capable of doing, and you're capable of doing it, and do it however the boss asks you to do it, not how somebody else thinks that it should be done, blah, 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 me. Don't let people take credit for your work. And watch out for the memes. All right, Savannah.
Savannah, okay. And what we got there? You're being pushed to contemplate something at the moment, and I don't know, you're just kind of resisting a little bit to it. But it's okay. It's this is. I think it doesn't come with
It's like a waiting thing.
Yeah,
too.
and it's. But you could be a little more receptive to that. I just feel it's something perhaps of a. Which requires a little bit more emotional acceptance, even if it's something that you're resisting a little bit. Just look at it from the other side for a second if you can, and maybe I get a feeling this may be a sort of like a minor. Funnily enough, you say power struggle in the last card. This is almost like somebody wants to assert their. Within your family unit or extended family unit, I feel that this is something about somebody wants to make a point, and okay, let them vent, but I don't know. I just feel that there's an opportunity for bringing people back into the fold here. That's what I feel.
Okay, I have Susan.
All right.
It says it's down here somewhere.
You're in charge.
Susan. This guy is really focused, and he's taking the time to meditate. One of the things that people miss or don't notice is that at the end of this little design here, there's a tiny fox head,
That there is.
like is on the brooch of the Queen of Wands. And fox medicine is that very coy, clever kind of energy. So I think that you might be in a place where you need to step back a little bit and use your cleverness, right? Like, don't get sucked into feeling isolated. Don't get sucked in to feeling pushed. And use your little bit of cleverness. I know that sometimes we tell the story about how intelligent a fox is, right?
My, yeah.
If the fox gets fleas, for example, it finds a little bit of sheep's wool in the thicket, and it gets a little ball of sheep's wool in the thicket, and it holds it in its teeth, and it'll dip itself in a stream all the way down till only its nose sticks out of the water, and all of the fleas go out onto that piece of wool because they want to not drown. And he really takes a while for him to do this. And when all the fleas run from him out onto that little piece of wool, he lets it go downstream and comes out and shakes himself. So it's that kind of cleverness, right? To whatever the infestation is, you have the cleverness to get through it, right? So don't give in to something that's eating at you. Figure out how to get it off you.
Scrap a bit of wool in your teeth, eh?
Right? You have Cass.
Hello, Cass. How you doing? All right. Oh, hey. Possibility of a trip here. Which why not? Why not? And if that ain't the case, then what was troubled waters is getting smoother for you. You're moving out of what was problematic into more smooth sailing. So all in all, quite a very positive card. Just don't lose your sense of direction is the important thing. I think those dolmen there are. I have wool. Stop it. You check out. She's saying about never
I see. Yeah.
Check it out. You can find videos of it. Somebody actually shot one, and foxes are amazing. They're like a cross between a cat and a dog. You know, damn smart. But yeah.
Yes, I'm going to Spain in June.
There you go. Well, there you go. enjoy the trip. Enjoy the trip.
Awesome.
Viva la España.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. All right, Jess.
Hopefully they got the power back on by then.
Oh my God. Jess.
Sorry.
Some sort of breakthrough
Ooh, hello.
regarding your spiritual path. I think sometimes little drops, and we try to absorb them and we try to figure them out. Little drops. And then before you know it, there's a whole pool of water here, of information, of things speaking to us from other. And I feel like even though you've been through some incredible challenges this past month, that the little droplets are starting to come into a place where there's enough to make a wave of breakthrough into your esoteric, occult kind of study stuff. So I think this is a really good card of awakening, of taking another step. All right, you have Yoff.
Yoff, the dedicated follower of fashion that he
Would
is.
you stop with that?
He is, though. He is. Somebody around you may not be being. How should we say? They may be being a little economical with the truth.
You know, the cards he's gotten could be enough to make him paranoid eventually.
Oh, don't be paranoid. Just be prudent. Be prudent here. So somebody may not be being entirely straight with you. So you know the old adage, or maybe you don't.
Lie by omitting is what's happening.
Well,
right?
yeah, it's economical with the truth. You know, they're not necessarily being deliberately deceptive, but they're choosing not to reveal something that is material and quite important. I think that's what's
a little more digging must be done.
Yes. So love many, trust few, but always paddle your own canoe is the advice at this point. Be certain, sure of what's going on. That doesn't mean you have to turn into a paranoid, everybody's out to get me kind of person. Not at all.
But it's like double checking. Especially before you get upset, because this week again is that I want to fly off the handle, jump to conclusions, that kind of thing. So a little extra digging might be worthwhile.
Yes.
And that's good advice for everybody.
It
All
is.
Right. Lori, our Lori.
Lori. Get my Inspector Gadget out.
Yes.
I love it.
Yes. Lori, before you invest in something and put good money into it, it might be a good idea to have like a second opinion. I know you were saying that you had something going on with your bathtub. There are a bunch of different places that kind of do that thing, and you might find that, I know you get what you pay for, but that doesn't mean that you have to just go with the first bid, so to speak.
True.
So although it's a pain in the ass, it might be worth it to get a second opinion before you invest too much money into something that really doesn't cost that much. So this is just like a word of caution regarding finances. And I'm not saying you're going to be destitute or anything like that. This is about being smart with money. All right, you have Carol.
Hello, Carol. How are you doing today? Beautiful spring day. Oh, hello. That'll do.
And little Foxy.
It is, again, with the fox around the brochure. It's kind of cool and interesting.
Sorry,
So this is, again, use your cunning.
Allergies.
Use your cunning, girl. Your cunning. And just get some... I don't know, because I love the pyramids here, that old soul vibe, but you know that. I don't know, I just feel that this is for you also, there's going to be a like that really deep spiritual awakening, you know. It's almost like the air's clearing. I know that sounds crazy because there's pollen all over the place and we're all sneezing our heads off right now, but it's almost like the air is clearing for you and the haze and the crap is blowing out of the way and you're getting a clearer perspective, especially with your channeling work. I want to feel like, you know, that you're able to bring stuff forward and really sort of get into very much your development side of things.
Foxes are coming out of their dens.
They are. Just they're lovely little things, foxes. So there you go. Anyway, unless you want to add anything, because I'm just witching.
I like that, Leo. You know, it's taking care of yourself and getting yourself seen, that kind of thing. All right, Kimberly.
Hello, Kimberly. I didn't say hello to her, did I?
I think you did.
I did, sorry.
Kimberly, pay close attention to detail. Make lists, pros and cons. And you can move forward, but know that you have the right to move forward at your own pace as well. So this configuration that we have here with the Gemini moon that wants to talk about everything, trining that Pluto in Aquarius, and this goes for everyone. It's kind of like that Oprah Winfrey thing where everybody talks to her, but she doesn't really say much about herself to other people.
Yeah, that's the Aquarian way.
So you may be in a work situation where you're getting an awful lot of information and you have to really discern what it is you want to share or what it is you want to document. So it's an interesting kind of figuring out what's important and what you could ignore, you know, blissfully ignore. All right, you have Geraldine.
Just 3 more super chats, peeps. That's all we need for your book club this evening. Geraldine, Minor Arcana Justice card. This is about you making best possible use of all available resources and just be aware that the person that may be crying out the most may not necessarily be the person who needs the most help, you know. Use your discernment here, you know, especially if somebody's almost like coming at you with a sense of expectation. Discern whether because there's a really fine line, I have to say this, you know, and all of us have to experience this at some point in our lives. There's a fine line between assisting somebody, helping somebody, and actually enabling that person to maintain a lack of responsibility for their own actions. And this translates not just into how you dispense material things, but maybe where you put your energy, and where you put your, you know, where you put your support, if you will, you know, and is somebody worthy of your continued loyalty or friendship? if they continue to like abuse that. Do you know what I'm saying? So this is a kind of definitely use your discernment, bottom it out, and don't just, cave in when somebody's like expecting something of you, especially if it's like more than their second time back asking for the same kind of thing again.
Support,
Just,
all right, thank you, Kimberly. Thank you, Lori. She says book club, and Geraldine says true, enabling no bueno. How do you know how many there are now?
We've got 3 minutes and 14 seconds to, I think, get one more super chat. So,
oh gosh,
just one more.
All right,
You've got to nail it in 3 minutes, peeps.
I have Laura. Now this is Laura from the north. Laura from the north.
Oh, and Laura from the north has just given us a super chat too, as well as Kimberly. Thank you.
Oh, I thought that was Lori Mintz.
No, that's Laura from the north with the M.
Oh, you see, it's very confusing. Thank you, Laura from the north.
Laura of the north.
Laura of the north. Laura of the north. This is your card. Door is opening. Something that you thought was not available or wasn't going to come through is coming through. You will be able to get that next step going. You'll be able to organize something and make a breakthrough. Sometimes this really feels like some sort of resurrection. Kind of like what I was saying to Logan. We get down to this bottom spot and we think we can't quite get from that spot ever again. We're stuck down there. But this is that opening up, that bursting through the door. Oh, we made it?
Yep, we did. Thank you,
Yay!
Susan. Thank you.
We'll see you tonight at 8 then.
Apparently we will.
All right. So hang in there because you can open the door. All right. You have Courtney.
Laura says she's supposed to be doing reading. Spirit has been up her bum about it. Sometimes we need to get off our bums, don't we? Who do I have? Sorry?
Courtney.
Courtney. Oh, Courtney. Hello, Courtney. You ain't got the bit you need yet. You're going to have to wander off and go find it. But it isn't abandoning what you are actually working on at all. This. It is not.
You're going to bring the other piece back and finish.
Yeah, it's like what you've built so far is great. But, you need to go get your missing bit. So off you go. Go find it. Go find your enlightenment or the thing it is that you need to finish your construction. And you will be very successful. It's all good. Don't be
starting a new phase of your life.
Yeah. Because we got that moon there, which is interesting as well. Don't be in a rush. It's all good. Things take what things take. They take that time. You know what I'm saying? And just is what it is. So thank you for the super chats, everybody. Appreciate that greatly.
All right, I have Kaylee.
There you go.
Building something. All right, Kaylee. A lot of times this is the self-employed card where you kind of have to do many facets of the job. So even if you're working for someone else, you may be doing like the creative part, the creating part, the billing, the advertising. It's about doing many facets of some kind of work in order to get it flowing, seen, growing. So I think you do have the ability to do this, to do the creative part, the creating part, the marketing part, the invoicing part. You just got to somehow get your strength back or get your confidence back, and you'll be able to get it going. So I think May is going to be very positive for you. I think this week, this card is for the week, I think it's going to give you information for those facets. And then I think May is going to be a time of growth. All right, now we need card of the week.
Laura of the North has changed her name to Laura O. So now change the screen.
All right, so we have Lori and Laura, and then we'll know for sure how we're going here.
It was the M that did you in. That's what. Laura wasn't necessary, but thank you. We can definitely know. And now Laurie's chiming in. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love
All
it.
right, so
Who have I got?
card of the week.
Oh, card of the... You should do that.
Me?
Yeah, you should.
I'll shuffle up then.
Yeah, you should do that. Why not?
Cha-da-cha, cha-da-cha.
And we have got the King of Pentacles.
Careful with where you're putting your focus, because what you focus on comes into focus. So this looks to me like we all need to stay grounded and aware and invest our time and effort and energy a little more into the self and a little more into the things that really are important and less distraction. You know, Gemini moon is scattering energy. We need to stay focused. And when Gemini moon meets that Jupiter, there's a big expansion. So if we're focused ahead of time and get ready these next couple of days, we'll have the best ammunition to be able to let Jupiter move that forward. So stay focused.
It is. I mean, and this also is a card to be mindful, to tread gently on things as well, because he's got his really great big hoof on this albeit a concrete statue of a piggy here or a boar. But this represents, to me, a hoof, and like the spiritual manner of a tribe. So whilst it's okay to be, you know, good and focused on the material stuff and getting stuff done and you know, bringing in good returns and all that, don't squash the life out of your spirituality. Remember, you know, it's nice to be important, but it's far more important to be nice.
All right. All right, we'll
So
see
there
you
you
tonight
have it,
at
peeps.
8. We have miles to go. Now we got to get our meeting ready for Dave.
We got a ton of stuff to do.
We have our admin, and I've got 50 strawberries to plant.
Of course. I think we're going to have more strawberries than we know what to do with.
Oh,
I think
no, we're making jam.
We're making jam. We'll be making jam.
Freeze them till we have a big pot of them to make jam.
You can do that because they make jam perfectly with frozen strawberries.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually wonderful because you need less cooking.
One year when we had a lot of stuff, we grew a lot of stuff and we had a big farm share, we made over 1,000 jars of things. We had curries and pickles and jams and sauces and soups and all kinds of things. And we had a big Mabon harvest sale.
Jar sale,
and
yeah.
we sold a ton of stuff. So you never know what we might come up with. Although we are quite busy, there's always room for something else to get done.
Well, yeah, I don't know if you guys have checked out the little video that you put up of the walk round of the garden with our little chicks that were born, by the way.
They're
getting big now.
Big now, yeah.
Pretty soon they're going to have to go move into a coop.
Yeah, because they're getting so big they're going to jump out the brooder. They're getting their wings.
Yeah, little buggers.
So cute. Oh my gosh.
They are. But yeah, so we've got oh gosh, all sorts of the prototypical, the tiny Celtica gardens are coming along quite nicely.
There's a lot of food out there.
There is.
I've got 8 blueberry plants now, 4 beds of strawberries. We've got 3 apple trees, a pear tree, a plum tree, a peach tree, all kinds of herbs. I've planted tons of herbs, and if I get enough of them, I'll be potting some of those up to sell too, so people can add to their herb gardens. We corn and peppers and tomatoes and beans and peas and garlic and onions and shallots and scallions and
going like mad. The garlic is.
And I'm growing a lot of lettuce for the chickens and spinach and chard and. Yeah, let's just all have some great success with our gardens this year. I know Sean's working on his garden, and a lot of other people are working on their gardens. So let us all have amazing success with our gardens this year.
Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you so much. We'll see you later at 8 for our book club.
And
In the name of the gods.
peace be with you, folks.
Yes.
We'll see you another time.
Thank you
very much.
so much for the super chats, peeps. Thank you so much for all the kind words, and mash that like button before you disappear and all that fun stuff. And thank you. And tell your friends about us. Let's be less of a well-kept
Peace.
secret. Take care now. See you later. Bye-bye.